Detective Comics number 20, written by John Layman, art by Jason Fabik. So, last issue was the oversized issue because it was like 900 or something like that. But the story that we covered was about Man-Bat, and it barely has anything to go into this. This is pretty much just picking up with like, oh hey, we haven't been able to tell our Ogilvy story for like 6 months. So let's go ahead and just wrap that up. So it opens up with Ogilvy and Penguin's gang just walking up to a bank, and he just robs it in plain daylight. He kills a bunch of people. He beat up a bunch of people. And then he looks at the camera after stealing $3 million, and he says, "Come and get me, Batman." And then we see the Batmobile just crashing through Penguin's mansion gates. And he's like, yeah, no, I mean, I'm here. I'm going to do this. Like, I should have dealt with him earlier. And he calls out Ogilvy, and Ogilvy stands in the doorway, silhouetted, and we see him as he steps out in the light and throws some punches at Batman that he is different. He has dark skin and red eyes and like super strength. He's taken something. But then we cut to earlier that day where Oswald Cobblepot, old Penguin, he is getting off on his crime because the only thing they could really tie him to is trespassing at the zoo, which the judge was like, I mean, you kind of donate a lot of money to the zoo, so it's kind of yours, I guess. Whatever. Point being, you're free to go. And Alfred sees Penguin outside the courthouse, and he calls up Batman. And he's like, hey, Batman, Oswald's been on the phone ever since he got let free, and he keeps on saying the name Ogilvy, like angrily and really loud. Maybe you should look into that. And Batman's like, I'm already on it, Alfred. You're 2 steps behind me here. And we see him interrogating a guy named Mosaic, who sounds really familiar, but I can't remember exactly where we ran into him before. But regardless, Mosaic's like just laying down all the stuff. He's like, yep, Ogilvy, he's got this big plan. We don't know what it is, but like we did that Man-Bat thing last issue in order to steal some chemicals from Star Labs. Like, that's why we did it. And Batman's like, okay, well, I don't know anything about that, but I'll go ahead and look into it. And so he tosses Mosaic down and says, all right, let's get into the part of the book that we opened with. So cut back to the fight between Ogilvy and Batman. And Batman's getting his ass handed to him. He is getting knocked down pretty hard. And Ogilvy's like, I've been planning this for years, and you are not going to get in my way. And Batman's internal monologue is like, okay. Clearly he has a little bit of Man-Bat in him because he is, gross looking, and underneath his skin, or he has like a light, apparently the skin isn't actually black, it's like a light coating of fur, but then underneath that his skin is apparently like armor or bark because Poison Ivy has been doing a thing in all the backup stories. And then Batman comments on his strength and like, oh, you know what I bet he stole? I bet it was something like Venom, like what Bane has. So now he's like pretty strong, not as strong as Bane, but pretty damn strong. So this is going to be pretty hard. But basically Ogilvy comes up at that point, he pulls out this big thick chain, wraps it around Batman's neck, and just hangs him in a tree. And he's like, well, that's it for Batman. I'm going to rule my empire now in terms of Gotham. So he goes inside, he calls up the mayor, and he's like, hey, Mayor Haiti, I want to talk about a peaceful transition of power. And by peaceful, I mean I'll let you live. And at that point, we see Batman still about to die out in the rain outside, and his chain gets snapped. And as he looks up, it's Penguin, old Penguin. And he's like, hey, I'm here to get my stuff back. I'm here to take out him. I know you want to take out him. Let's work together for just like 10 seconds. So Batman stumbles back into the house, and Ogilvy's like, well, I mean, I almost killed you before. I could just kill you again. And Batman's like, I was fighting you as if you were still a man. But here's the thing. I don't think you were ever a man. You were always a monster. And so he throws out all the like dirty tricks. He throws out like some acid and some electricity and some gas and whatnot. And he manages to take out Ogilvy over the course of like 1 page. And Ogilvy's like, psh, whatever. Doesn't matter. I still managed to beat you. Even if it was just for a tiny little bit, I ran Gotham. And therefore, I will not be forgotten. I will be remembered forever. Ogilvy will be remembered. And then Penguin steps up, holds his umbrella gun to the guy's head, and he's like, yeah, you'll be remembered. your history. And then he shoots Ogilvy in the head. And Batman's immediately like, dude, you know that's not okay. And he's like, I bet that he's fine. He's still alive. They don't tell us how, but he's still alive. And so basically Batman's like, all right, fine. What do you want? And he's like, just get him out of here. This is my house again. So then we get an epilogue where Penguin is out and about again, and Batman's like, yeah, I kept an eye on him after that because I knew he'd show back up. I didn't expect him to show back up this soon, though. But instead of going as Batman, he goes as Bruce Wayne because it turns out Penguin is changing the name of the children's center back to the Martha Wayne Children's Center from the very beginning of the arc. And he's like, yeah, look, the last time I stepped out of the shadows, I put a target on myself and people started gunning for me. So I'm just going to live in the shadows instead. You can have your stupid little children's center. Like, I know what I want, and it's not able to be grabbed in the light. And he walks away, and Batman's like, oh, but I'll be waiting for you in the shadows as well, Penguin. And then we see this person up in the rooftops, and he's like, well, Bruce Wayne, I'm here to kill you. I don't know who the person is. He doesn't say anything about it. It's just a person here. He's got to kill Bruce Wayne. So I feel really bad for this arc, all things considered, because it felt like it kept getting preempted. I've said this numerous times. We had Death of the Family. We had the death of Robin. We had this 900 issue. It felt like John Layman was never really able to tell this story that he wanted to. Now, mind you, I do think most of the story was told in the backups, and I haven't gotten the chance to do that yet. I will do that in a few weeks' time after this issue, but it feels weird that the main story of each of these books is just not this. And then all of a sudden, Emperor Penguin's just like, here I am. And they just end it right there. It's so baffling to me that this is how they decided to wrap. Like, they didn't even give a main story where he took any sort of serum. We never saw that. Maybe he did in the backup, but if someone was just following the main stories, we never saw him turn into this like freak looking monster thing. So yeah, it just feels weird. As for this particular issue, it's fine. It's not great. It's not awful. It's just the end of something that I wish had more build up the entire time. So, I mean, overall, I got to give this one like I got to give it like a 6, and that's disappointing because the art is fantastic and I like his voices for the characters, but there was nothing to latch onto. Ogilvy felt like a background story in his entire arc, and he was a backup story, so yeah, it's a 6.